Hello there and welcome to this vlog of October 2024. Just October the 2nd. Feels like ages since I've recorded, so I thought I'd better do something. Lots of stuff to get through today, but I don't know how long the video will be. I don't think it will be too long. It may be more of a 20 to 30 minute as opposed to like an hour, hopefully anyway. So just a quick update really on several things that I've discussed before on the channel and what I'm doing and where I'm currently at, things like that, because I'm sure that you've seen that there is a real lapse in content on here, which we'll get into. I've covered some of this topic before as well, because it's obviously all tied into like the Kickstarter and life and everything else going on. First point to say is actually there is a legit reason why I haven't been able to record for the last basically 3 or 4 weeks, because I got the worst seasonal flu I've had in a long time. I think you probably tell by the sound of my voice that I'm even more gruff sounding than usual. I'm getting over it now, but I have been excuse me, I've been pretty much bedridden for a week. That was a while ago, and then I got busy at work and had to go down to London, and I went down to London way before I was ready to do anything and got pretty seriously ill. I was actually at a point where I thought I might have to go to hospital, because I think I might have got some kind of liquid on the lungs or something like that. It was very stupid. I think my boss keeps shaking his head, being like, "What are you doing here? Or why are you logging on?" But it's just, this is a busy time of year for me at work, so it's fine. It's not going to kill me. I'm a strong old Yorkshireman, so I can get through this. It's not a problem. But I can't record because I literally, if I'm recording and I can barely speak and I'm coughing or that's horrible for you guys, right? So I would never ever do that. Even now, I'm still slightly too nasal probably to record, but at least I'm not coughing and sneezing and hocking up all over the microphone, which would be absolutely disgusting. So yeah, that is actually one legit reason why. But there are other factors as well, because I think even if I hadn't have got ill, I still probably would have really suffered on the content front, because let's talk about the Kickstarter. Okay, so I've done, maybe over the last 2 to 3 months, I've done several videos on where we're currently at, what the lateness will look like, state of play, that kind of thing. Catalyst have put out a few updates over the last few weeks. I'm not going to go through them because and I have to be really careful what I say here, because I always try to be positive on the channel, or as positive as I can be. And I'm not going to say I'm angry, but I am going to say I'm disappointed. Which, that's the worst, right? I know it's a cliche to say, but that's kind of what your parents say to you when you're a kid. I just, far too much grandstanding, far too much passing the buck or excuses or whatever. I think we're all acutely aware that this is a huge project and it's a difficult project. But I think a tone of, dare I say, contrition, and maybe a bit of humility probably would not go amiss from them right now. I think most of us are going to get this Kickstarter well later than expected, probably by 6 to 9 months, depending on where you are at in the world. I've got multiple Kickstarters, I've said this before, and they've actually, all the US ones have now been delivered, apart from, all the US ones have been delivered. I've got one international left and then my own Kickstarter one left to go. So they're clearly getting through the US stuff. Again, I be clear about this as well. I'm not actually salty about the Kickstarter being late. If you've watched me talk before, I was always expecting that. But I just see the way that they deal with the lateness and the communications that they put out is well, let's just say it's not what I would do. I don't want to go into any more detail on that. I'm not going to start throwing shade around or anything. If you want to see really on eggshells here, just go look at the comment sections on the Kickstarter if you want to see how this news is received. And that's probably the best way for me to say it. And even though, credit to them, they have stepped up their communications. So you see now an increase in them, like putting messages out there. But I still say the tone needs a lot of work. Is that diplomatic enough? I hope I've not upset anyone by saying that. I really do. I don't like the heat that people give Catalyst either. Like I know I say that I've just kind of contradicted myself because I've just said that I'm disappointed. But there's a way to do it, right? Like I think if you're going to be an adult about it and you're just going to be like give them the look, then that's one thing. But just going on there and like spamming hate comments or it's so unacceptable and it's so puerile, it's so immature, and don't do that. I mean, luckily, I think the people who engage with me and watch this channel, I just don't really. I mean, I obviously get the odd comment or whatever, but generally speaking, we're not that kind of community, right? It's certainly the people that I engage with, and the ones that are really going to be kicking off about it are the ones that are going to be very vocal about it, and then they're going to get the traction, and that's the thing that just the way that human brain works. We're always going to kind of zone in on the drama, right? So I'm not saying anything here to be prickly or spicy or nasty. I just feel like, and I can only be honest about this. I can only be honest about how I actually feel about it. I feel like all the energy and the oxygen has just been sucked out of the community so badly. I feel it's slightly toxic right now, and I just feel like I can't, almost like in good conscience, make content when my comments are just going to be people saying, I've not got the Kickstarter, I've not got the Kickstarter, I've not got the Kickstarter. And it's not where I want to be at all. Like, I had big plans this year, but then I'm kind of a victim of the circumstance as well, because I can't get the Kickstarter myself then, so all my kind of content plans got delayed. And I've said this before, like, I just, like, when even no matter what level of content creator at, whether you are like one of the big channels with 1 million plus viewers, or you are literally me, just recording a video, doing no editing, and then just uploading it to YouTube, you've still got like a time investment in it, whether it's 100 hours a week, or like me, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week. It's still like, you've still got like an itinerary and a plan, and you've got some kind of roadmap for where you want to go. And I've just had that roadmap screwed up and thrown in the bin. And of no fault of mine, obviously, because I'm just waiting for the Kickstarter so that I can do the content that I wanted to do on it. And my energy levels now to do anything else, whether it's, picking up the campaign operation series, or doing some of the like law videos that I want to do, it's just at like 0.0. In fact, I'm just going to say this, my enthusiasm for BattleTech at the moment is just in the toilet, right? Like, I just have zero. I tried to pick up a book a couple of days ago, and I was just like, ugh. I mean, I'm wearing my Natasha Kerensky t-shirt today to try and galvanise me, and it is. I love Natasha, so she's always welcome. On my t-shirt, but yeah, I can't put it any more succinctly than that. I'm sure it's just like a temporary lull. I'm sure that when the Kickstarter comes, and that I can then get really kind of back on the paint table with it, and I can start doing content again. But the thought, even today, and obviously 'cause I'm getting over illness as well, so that is a factor for sure about me being miserable. But just the kind of the way that my momentum has just been completely crushed. I can't put it any other way of. If I came on here and had to do law videos, they'd probably be very low energy, and I'd be like, ugh. So I can't do it. I'm not gonna subject you to that. Obviously, one good thing about being a very small content creator is that nobody really cares. I mean, I say that. I mean, I know that some of you like my videos and will kind of seek them out. And I think for the channel size and for the fact that the absolute low energy and effort that I put into these videos, I'm actually delighted with the level of like views and attention it garners and comments and things like that. I love that. The people on here are fantastic. I've great conversations with people for the most part. Another issue as well, and this is probably more to do with me and my failings as a human being than than anything else. I know that, like, in these videos, obviously I come over as, I'm quite keen and positive and tralala. Really, this is a mask for YouTube, right? Actually, deep down, I'm quite a prickly, salty, nasty piece of work, which I'm fine with. I mean, that's, partially because of the career path that I chose. But when I did the last the Wilson's Hussars videos, I had quite a few people on there like calling me out for like bad audio and bad camera, and I didn't really respond to it very well. I basically just told people to go to hell. I was like, well, you've not paid me anything for this, so what the hell do I care what you think? Which I do think that is true. Like, don't be... I think as well, it's part of this problem, right? Let me just drill down into this. Okay, so first of all, yes, those people were correct. I do need to get better at that if I want to do it. So I'm going to go back to the drawing board to do it. But please don't expect me to give you any other response than go to hell if you come at me quite viciously, right? Like, I'm not some like YouTube sap. I know that this is what people, especially in our community, are used to, because so many people are reliant on content for some kind of like revenue generation or front of house thing for like Patreon membership or whatever. Obviously, I'm lucky I don't have to deal with any of that, so I just tell people to go to hell, right? And I think it maybe shocks people because they're so used to like YouTube as being very thorny and like, oh, of course, yes, of course I will do it. Like, no, that ain't me, right? I'm just gonna kick off, right? I've got no problem with kicking off with people. I've got no problem calling people out and basically just obliterating them through the medium of comment content, just saying what pathetic individuals they are. Again, that is more my character flaw. Kids watching this don't do what I do. Be more reasonable and more patient. It's just not who I am. I'm sorry, right? There you go. I apologise, but not sorry. Yeah. However, saying that, there were some comments on there which were very, done in a very nice way, which is like, oh, this is a great idea. You might want to do X to make it better. Those comments I love, right? Like, again, it's how you come at someone, right? Like, if it's just some basement dwelling nerd who's never done a video themselves, or I don't know, they just sit around all day playing Guild Wars or whatever. You can tell that kind of person, and I'll go in for them. But if it's someone that I respect, and a couple of people did say this, they were like, "Why don't you try doing this?" And that's completely fine. Obviously, I'm not. It's not. I'm not open to constructive criticism. Of course, I am. Anyone who's not open to constructive criticism is an idiot. And some people did say some things where I was like, actually, I should probably look into that. But it was frustrating because I was just like, it was the first one that I did, and I'd honestly I've spent tens of thousands of pounds on the house over the last 9 months and got that space set up, you know, to do some like extended like content in. And I've got to say this, for the most part, people were like, "Oh, this is really, really good. You know, we really enjoyed that," and try, you know, etc. A few people obviously come in and spoil that, but that really kind of, I'm not going to say it demoralised me, but because I'm already at a low energy point, I was like, oh, now I'm going to have to go back and rethink all this. So yeah, it's not a great time at the moment in terms of like my content journey. Another thing as well, and I have to be careful what I say here, obviously, because it's not my like news to talk about, because it's relates to DFA, Death from Above. I'm not going to go into too much detail here, but obviously, and okay, the things that I can say, because Aaron has said them publicly, although I've not spoke to him in a while, but he didn't get the Kickstarter the last time that we spoke. And he'd gone on in, they've started to do reviews, but they've had to get reviews from other people's Kickstarters or going on eBay and getting like very high priced scalped material, right? Now, suffice to say that DFA are a professional outfit and do obviously some of the, well, actually they do the best BattleTech tabletop content by a mile. You know, I don't think that's up for debate, because that's all they do, right? Like, there are some channels who do like good BattleTech videos, but it's part of wider hobby. In terms of just BattleTech, you don't find anyone as good as DFA. And, you know, I'm very proud to be a part of DFA, and, you know, I think we deliver phenomenal content. But we're on a very strict schedule, right? Because, you know, there are editors involved, and, you know, it's probably about as professional as you can get from I say amateur team loosely. I don't know how else you put it. You know what I'm saying. We don't make a living off DFA, right? Like, everyone involved in it has their own careers, but we all kind of add something to it, whether it's in scripting, editing. Obviously, there's the core part of it is like is Aaron, basically, when Aaron's got the studio and they're doing the battle reports, etc. So, and Aaron was clear in one of the videos. He was like, "Yeah, we've not got the Kickstarter, and we've got to kind of route around to try and get stuff." Now, that has caused, as you would expect, I don't think this is going to be news to anyone, but you can just see this from the content on DFA. It's really messed with the schedule, right? Because we had a pretty set in stone schedule for all the content, and that's obviously had a cascade effect then on what we were planning on Jump Point Season 3. So we are back at the drawing board with that. We don't know what's going to happen. Again, it's not something I would announce anyway. I'd always let the actual channel announce this first. It's not my place to discuss it. But in terms of me personally then, where I sit, you know, if I've got like plenty of stuff to be getting on with, that's what gives me passion, right? So if I've got, we've got to record 4 series of our episodes of Jump Point this month, and I've got, you know, all this Kickstarter stuff to be getting through, and I've got my own videos to make, that's where my engagement really kind of maximizes, right? That's where I am at my best, when I'm kind of kept busy. Instead, it's just the cascade effect from the Kickstarter not being delivered has just, it's literally impacted every single facet of what I wanted to do over a 12-month period. And it's not just me saying that. Obviously, I think a lot of well, obviously I could say this for DFA, it's obviously had a cascade effect on them or on us. So it's something that, like, I don't know what to say now. Like, if in fact the big weird thing here is that I'm expecting the Conan Monolith game, which you can actually see one of the boxes. It's at the top. How do I do this? Don't know where my finger's going here. If you look where all the board games are on the top shelf, that's actually one of the expansion packs for the Conan game, and I'm getting like a couple more of them. I've not actually got the core game yet, but I've kind of like, they did a Kickstarter where you could get previous editions, so I just went and bought everything basically, and that's just something that I bought randomly, like over the summer, just a bit that you couldn't get on the Kickstarter, and that from what I've played of it, is a really, really great game, and the models are brilliant. You know, it's obviously Monolith, who I think are a French company, and that Kickstarter will probably come before the BattleTech Kickstarter, which is quite incredible given that I backed that Kickstarter like a year after the BattleTech Kickstarter. And I think, honestly, like, in terms of channel direction, I'd be way more infused and interested talking about the Conan game and Conan in general than BattleTech at the moment. Another thing as well, and I was planning on doing a bit of Blood Bowl content because I do adore Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl have finally announced Chaos Dwarfs, which is, oh my word, when I heard about that, even though I was very ill at the time, I was like, yes, because you know, the Chaos Dwarfs are one of my absolute favourite things, and got all that. That will all be coming to me. So basically, what I'm saying is my enthusiasm at the moment is pretty much exclusively all non-BattleTech related, which I take no joy in saying, and I'm not blaming anyone for my state of mind. It's just, again, I go back to that cascade effect, and I don't know kind of what to do now. I mean, I'm just like, say, twiddling my thumbs. I still do stuff, obviously, in the hobby. You know, it's not going to stop me playing Blood Bowl or you know, any of the other games that I've got, but I can't even, you know, just if I put BattleTech on the tabletop, I'm looking at it thinking, I've not got my Kickstarter yet. Like, it's just like a big albatross around my neck of like what I want to do but can't do it because it's not arrived. I think as well, you know, I mean, the last video that the last video that I did on the Kickstarter, I think I'd said on there, oh, it could actually be good news. I now would actually say it's not so good news from what I've seen anyway, from the comms that they've put out. It looks like there are so many stock shortages that they've had to kind of go back to the factories to get. I think that's out what they said anyway, and then that's going to have to be developed and shipped, which is a pretty horrific state of affairs, right? I mean, with the best will in the world, even if they really rush that through, and there's probably going to be some legal action over that as well, possibly from Catalyst's side to the manufacturers. You know, if they've just completely dropped the ball and not got the stock that was ordered, I mean, I'd hope that they'd be looking at legal action over that. I certainly would be advising that they do take some form of legal action because, again, I'm one of the more centred members of the community, but there'll be people out there who are like threatening to pull funds or not buy from them anymore or whatever else because they're really angry with the delay. So it has really kind of impacted on the BattleTech IP and the brand, and that's actually the main reason why I'm very upset about this in some respects, because at the time when momentum is so high for the IP, and you know, like, there are other things going on that are going to be game changing in BattleTech. You know, the clan expansion comes out for Mech Warrior 5, even though technically it's a new game. That comes out in like 2 weeks, just over 2 weeks, 17th of October, I think that's due. So you know, it's just one of those situations where like it really is a tragedy. It's quite a big word to use, that, I suppose, you know, especially given the state of the world at the moment. But just to emphasise that, I mean, in terms of what we do here is like what I do as a content creator, or you involved with the, you know, with the IP, or you might be a content creator or whatever else. It's just caused such a bad feeling, and that's what upsets me the most, really, and that's why I get quite, like I said, disappointed when I see like Catalyst putting comms out, because I think they're just adding, like, you know, gas to the fire. Regardless, even though I'm guessing that from a distribution standpoint, it probably isn't their fault. You know, it's probably something to do with the logistics hubs and everything else. But ultimately, you know, in terms of responsibility, they took our money. You know, I've got thousands and thousands of dollars tied up in this Kickstarter. I know a lot of people watching this have thousands of dollars tied up in it as well. and we really don't want to hear. Not our fault. Like, it just, yeah. Again, it's a tricky one because I'm sure that a lot of this is out of their hands. But again, I just go back to that point. A modicum of contrition and a little bit of humility will go a long way in comms. You know, banging the drum is not always your best approach. That's all I'll say. Aside from that, then, I hope that when I eventually can dig myself out of this trench, which I am very confident I will do, but it might take time, right? Like, if the Kickstarter comes, and I don't want to put any dates on this, but I am actually going to be quite surprised. I think I think either it will come in November, so they might like push through, and talk for me personally, they might push through like the European hubs as quickly as possible. You know, once it's off the ship, and they might have a plan in place already to get it out, and they might have extra staff picking or whatever. So it might come in November. If it doesn't come by November, there is sweet zero chance that it's going to come before Christmas, because that's when these logistic hub centres go wild with obviously Christmas traffic. So if it's not here by, say, like November the 30th, I would guess that we'll be getting it from between January and March. And then I've got the Conan Kickstarter coming to me in January, which actually Monolith sent comms out last week saying that they've literally got everything. And they expect that it's going to be on time. So, you know, that's going to be another thing. I really hope I get the BattleTech Kickstarter before that, because there is a fear for me that may turn my head, because I do love Conan. You know, he is my boy. It's you know, I think outside of BattleTech, it's probably my favourite IP. I don't talk about it very much because it's so, like, you know, it's worlds apart from BattleTech, obviously. But I hope that doesn't happen. I hope that this doesn't have an impact on me in terms of my kind of psychological, you know, health, whatever you want to say, with how I view BattleTech. And I'm pretty confident it will. I think, you know, I don't know how I'm going to title this video. I might say something like I'm all BattleTech'd out or something, and that is really how I feel at the moment. But I know I will get over it. I know that when the Kickstarter comes and, you know, I start to see my collection really start to complete itself, and I've got like, ooh, you know, I've got especially with the dust counter stuff, like once I've got all the kind of plastics from the dust counters, and I can finally finish my brigade, and we've gotten up the 5 reinforced battalions. No, sorry, what is it now? It's 5 reinforced regiments, far bigger than a battalion, dozens of battalions. So yeah, I think, you know, I will get back into it. I don't know when, and it's going to take external factors that I don't have any power over. That's all I can say. Anyway, we're coming up to 30 minutes, so that's pretty ideal. Again, apologies, this is a bit of a downer video, but I am not great at the moment. Honestly, I mean, I'm trying to hold it together in terms of my even like my mind is like really wandering. I am not well, right? I mean, I feel like 10 times better than I did last week, but apologies if this is a bit meandering, or it's like low energy. I hate doing stuff like that, but I feel like I owe some of you a bit of an update on this and where I am mentally, and what I want to do going forward. So I've not forgotten you. I do want to do this. I just can't right now. It's not you, it's me. We'll use that one. Right, guys. I'm going to leave it there. Honestly, I appreciate you all so much. This is just from my, like, you know, I'm not a subby, viewy type of looker or anything like that. But before I came on I've not logged on the channel for about a month, right? And I came on today, and I'm just coming up to 100,000 views and 1,000 subscribers, and I'm like, I can't believe anyone watches my spiel. I really can't. So I don't know. I mean, some of you clearly either like it or hate watch it, whatever. But I just want to. I'm not going to thank anyone. It's not an Oscars speech. It's 1,000 subs on you, Screw, for goodness sake. But I really appreciate you, right? I really appreciate this little tiny place that we all inhabit. You know, I get when I've been ill for a month, but it's such a joy for me to kind of interact with most of you. You know, I respect so many of you. You give such good takes. You teach me so much as well. And I just want to thank you all. Like, there's no, like, I don't mean this in a cheesy way or anything, but you add a lot to my life, right? Like, again, I know it's a parasocial relationship, obviously, even though it's I'm not a YouTuber or anything like that, but like, it just speaking to you really kind of infuses and gives me so much more in terms of what I do on my hobby. So yeah, I would thank you for that actually. Like, a lot of you are really like dear to my heart, and I desperately want to do more. But again, it's like I said, my hands are so tied at the moment, and I'm going into a very, very busy season at work. It's always very, very busy for me from like September through to like the new year. But we'll get there. We'll get there together. You can have my bad content, no editing, for free, and we'll get there together. There you go. Right, I'm going to leave it there, guys. So good to see you all. And I don't know when I'll next record. We'll see, right? Like, something might happen newsworthy. But I'll probably wish you a Merry Christmas at this point, because I don't know if I'll appear before Christmas. That's my doorbell. That really is a signature to go. So I'll speak to you all later and catch you next time. Thank you very much.